All right, time for another stream. Not much to say by way of introduction. I think I'm just gonna kind of hop right in and get back to work again. I've been working for the past couple of days on adding the ability to do better sketching in my 2D and 3D document rendering. So today I'm gonna spend some more time working on that. It's gonna be a nice casual Friday. Yeah, it is Friday. So I'm not gonna force myself to work hyper efficiently or anything like that. Just hope to get a little further on some things. So with that out of the way, I'll switch over to my work window here and just get back to it. So things are left pretty much where they were before. Today's bit of work is updating various functions to allow for a nice 3D view of this kind of thing, where I can have faces with holes in them. And this is currently being done by using the SVG path element and just appending different paths onto it, and then using the fill rule even odd to create the holes like you see here. So that's that. So as it is, I've been working on this function here, get loops, and I've been using a little test here. If I put out foo, it's just a list of edge pairings. And if I run get loops on that, I get the two loops that show up there. Now, the challenging thing is the idea of how do I describe this? If I have let me make a new test shape for a moment and get to it from there. First, however, let me just check that things are looking okay. They're looking fine, I think. Got some little issue here with bitrate and stuff like that. I do apologize. Things aren't always perfect. But that's okay. I'll work with what I've got. Yeah. All right. So I'm actually going to make a new sort of test shape here. If I def ASDF as the extrude of a regular polygon, but I only use radius 2 and 3 edges, so it's a triangle. I'm extruding it by 5. ASDF is this thing. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points only, which is nice. And what I can do instead of foo being this long list, I can do foo map v val on nodes of ASDF. There. So now foo is, foo is now just a list of 6 points. Wait a moment. That's the wrong, it's got to be edges. Edges. There. Pardon me. So now if I run get loops of foo, first of that is one loop and second of that is the other loop. Since it's an extrude, there will be a loop at the bottom and a loop at the top. But what's actually the case is that there are additional loops for the 1, 2, 3 vertical faces on the extrusion, but the loops aren't they're not the list of edges. It's not sequential in the list of edges. So I have to think about how to get those kinds of loops. Because, so if I there, right? So this is the list of all of the edges in my test thing. So there should be, let's see, 3 on the bottom, 3 on the top, and then 3 around, so a total of 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 because I have, oh, and there's an error in that which I still haven't fixed. Let's call it fine for now. So the first loop is this 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 0. The next loop is 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 3. But then this one, 0, 3, is part of different loops, right? If I imagine you have the edge 2, 0, which then can go up to 0, 3, which then can go to 3, 4, which then can go to 4, 5, which can go to 5, 3, which can go to 3, yeah, so it's kind of complicated because there are multiple paths to create. So let me think about that for a moment. Right, I could go 0 to 3, 2 to 0, 0, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 3, and then it doesn't end. No. Let me think about this just for a moment. I'm drawing a little shape on my paper here to visualize this. Oh, gotta turn off my had to turn off my air conditioning. Don't want it to be making all kinds of rumbly noise. 1, 4, 2, 5. So the problem I'm faced with, it's maybe hard to describe, but this is an extruded shape. Let me see. The points are numbered to be the, like, this edge here, 0, 1, is this right here, 0, 1, like that. And the problem I face is the vertical lines, right? So I have, oh boy, this is not a good drawing. Maybe I do need to here, find way to do hand-drawn diagrams on screen. Use iPad somehow. That'll be fun, actually. That'd be kind of cool. So so 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 0 is the loop on the bottom, right? And then I can easily also find the loop on the top, which is 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 3. But these vertical lines from 0 to 3, from 1 to 4, and 2 to 5, they also describe more faces, but they're hard for me to figure out algorithmically how to pull out in there. So I have 0, 1, 1 to 4, 4 to 3, and 3 to 0, but that doesn't work, because 0 to 1 will match 1 to 4 eventually, but there's no 4 to 3, there's a 3 to 4, and I could let me see here. If I do something like this, get loops, make loops, and it'll be split here. Make loops will be, you take a list of edges, but they're going to be edges that don't have any loops pre-existing. So for example, if I do def foo2 is going to be drop 6 of drop last of foo2, right, is just going to be 0, 3, 1, 4, 2, 5, which 0, 3, 1, 4, 2, 5, that makes sense. Okay, so what make loops would do is connect those with oh boy, what's the smart way to connect them, because one of them has to be inverted, right? Actually, the idea for an extruded thing would always be okay, if I have 0, 3 and 1, 4, 0, 3, 1, 4, like this. I want to connect, I want to make a first face I want to make from 0, 0, 3 as my starting face. I'm actually going to add 3 faces to that. So the new faces I add will be a 3, 4, and then a 4, 1, and then a 1, 0. So if I do something loop between, it's going to be 2 edges. It's just going to do E1, E2. The assumption is that both of them are pointed in the same direction. So E2 is going to be the inverted, it's going to be the flip of that. So you're going to return list, well actually first let we'll destructure it like this. Node 1, node 2 is just edge 1. That's just straight up. But node 4 and node 3 are edge 2. So it flips the nodes around. With that let, then all I have to do is to create the new face or the new loop. It's just a list of 4 points or 4 edges built up from the nodes. Node 1, node 2, node 2, node 3, node 3, node 4, and then node 4, node 1. I should, that's fine. So loop between, right? So if I do loop between of 0, 3 and 1, 4, I should see a list that gives me 0, 3, 3, 1, 4, 1, no, 0, 3, 3, 4, 4, 1, 1, 0. 0, 3, 3, 4, 4, 1, 1, 0. That's correct. So, all I need to do then, right, is run that for every remaining loop that is not consumed by the initial get loops. So what that'll do is make a loop for every face in the extrusion. Does that make sense? Kind of. That only works in the case of an extrusion. It doesn't work if I have manually produced a shape, because there'll still be Boy, this does get kind of complicated, unfortunately. Let me just try one other weird thing. Well, okay, we'll go forward with this as is for the time being. There's almost certainly a better way to do all of this, but this is the thing that's coming to my mind initially, and may as well run with it because it can maybe work. So I shall see. Okay, so loop between takes two edges in two vertically extruded edges, which is fine. So make loops will take that whole list and produce. I do need to let edges be, I need to, for this to work the way I want, I need to copy the first item of the list and append it to the back. So foo2 is this list. If I do into, well, let's see here, first foo2, right? If I conj first foo2 onto foo2, does that work? Concat is what I meant, and that's wrong too. Concatenate. Oh no, conj would work, I think, but I have them in the wrong order. Foo2 first foo2, just like this. There we go. No, that's not it, because it's in the wrong position there. Because of course it is. Let's try this. Concat foo2 first foo2. There, that's what I'm looking for. It's got the first entry mushed back onto the end there, so let's just do that. Concat edges, first edges, like that. So that's the edges list. If I close that, there we go. Oh boy. I hope everyone's having a good time, by the way. If you're watching live now, feel free to ask questions in chat or just talk about, you know, projects you're working on, how your day's going. You go right ahead. I'd love to interact. If you're watching this later on YouTube or on a VOD, it. Hope you're doing well. So now I've got edges. I can run I can map loop between edges. Is that gonna work? Make loops foo2. No, of course not. I have to do this. I always forget how to do how to properly map two arguments right in. Like it consumes two at once. No, that's not it. I forget, actually. Let me this should be straightforward. Map, right, map inc, right, so this is a function that takes one argument and it maps over it, right? You can use multiple collections. Yeah, so this plus is you can pass it two arguments and it'll do each of those, but that's not what I'm looking for. Map is used with the reader macro a lot. Yeah, that's totally fine. That's cool. Yeah. Well, it's not that big a deal. I will just do the first thought that comes to mind is this. Let me just start this part of the function over completely. We'll do a for. how am I going to do this? A, B in partition 2, 1 edges. And then all you do, actually, no, I can just, let me go back a step again. Let's get rid of this. There's the pairs, partition 2, 1 edges, and then this can be map of apply loop between to the argument, and then pairs. Will that work? Let's see if that works. I think it'll work. Yeah, there we go. Count that. Should be 1, 2, 3. 4A in this whole thing. Oop. This whole business. Print line A. Wait a minute, is the structure, this is a little weird, but whatever. Oh. Can I just do A instead of print line A? Nope. Well, whatever. Does that work though? Actually, let me see that those loops make sense for my little drawing here. 1, 4, 4, 5, 5, 2, 2, 1. And then the last one is 2, 5, 5, 3, 3, 0, 0, 2. Yeah, those do work. So that's nice. So now I have to just do something that will create lists of loops from everything, which I will do, but first I have to use the washroom, so I shall be back in a minute. All right. How's everybody doing today, by the way? Hope you're having a good one. Feel free to talk in the chat if you want. That'd be cool. If you're just sitting there watching, listening, and you don't want to chat, I completely understand. That's perfectly fine as well. hope everyone's having a good time. So, in the context of doing extruded faces, I can get the loops that are easy to get with get loops, and I can create loops between vertical edges automatically, so I can draw every face I need to draw. But I want to be able to do that in this just realizing that I kind of don't need to, if I'm doing the get loops and stuff, I kind of don't need a faces category. I'll worry about that later. Let me finish my thought here. Draw loops is a work in progress, obviously. So I have get loops and make loops, and I want to combine those into something that properly takes something like this and produces all of the required loops that I need. So, in order to do that, let me define how do I want to wrap this up in a way that makes sense. Oop. So if I call this find loops instead of get loops, and then this one's loop between, and this one's make loops. Get loops will be a list of edges, and that list of edges will be first you do found is you just do find loops of edges, nice and easy. And then what I need to create a list of edges from the original edges that do not exist inside the loops. So if I, well, first of all, I have to build that so that find loops is in the REPL. If I do find foops of foo, I've got two lists here. If I do map concat, no, if I just do concatenate, Oh, that didn't change anything. Apply. Right, so if I apply concatenate onto that, this is now a list of edges that should be removed from let's see, is there a let's see, let's do Clojure difference between two lists, or intersection, or okay, so difference sort of works here. Is it a real thing? Oh, it's in Clojure.set. Do they have to be sets? I wonder. If I have 1, 2, 3, and this is 2, 3, 4, does that work? Nope. Okay, so they do have to be sets, I think, it looks like. So let's make it a set. Oh, what a mess. Let me run this, let me do this. Set 1, set 2, 1, 2, 3, and this is 2, 3, 4. I think I should see a set that contains 1 and 4. Guess not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. So that's not exactly what I, it's not totally what I need anyway. Contains. Ah. Oh, but it's keys. So what I'm trying to do is just figure out a convenient way to make a, so if I have two lists, this list contains a 1, a 2, and a 3, and this list contains a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. I want whatever function to return a 4 and a 5 to me. I want it to take while the value is in, let's see, let me try one other thing, because Clojure set might work if I do intersection instead. Let's do Clojure.set/intersection of 1, 2, 3 and 2, 3, 4. If I do that, it should give me 2, 3 or 3, 2 because the order is broken. This feels like I'm not really thinking about this the right way, but I'll get there. intersection, difference, union, that is the first set without the elements of the remaining set. So that would have to be like, that's nothing. Yeah, so if this is 2, 3, 4, and this is 1, 2, 3, then 4 is the result. Okay. Well. And if I do contains, right, it takes a collection and a key. So if the collection is 1, 2, 3, no, let me make it 40, 50, 60, right? If I ask if it contains 60, this will say no, it'll be false because it contains 0, 1, and 2, which are the indices of those things. So if I want to right, if I wanted to do that the way, so I'd have to do into map the interleave of whatever my collection is, 40, 50, 60, with range up to the count. So like that. What have I done? Oh, it would be zip map maybe I'm doing something wrong here. Okay. Right, so that, oh, I'd also have to partition by 2 this whole thing, and then zip map that. Oh, I'm doing this wrong, of course. It's the zip map's even simpler than I'm trying to make it. Zip map would be, it would be the values, and then the keys would be, am I doing this in the right order? Keys, values, keys, and I'm inverting it, right? So the values then is just range, the count of however big that is. There, now if I do contains of this thing, and then does it contain 50? The answer is true. Right, so then right, edges found there. Then I want to make something called to remove is there. I wonder if there's an easier way to do this. Clojure remove items from list that are in another list. Ugh. I'll just keep going with what I'm trying to invent here, and I'll look up later how to do this more appropriately. So to remove is a zip map of apply concatenate to found. Those are the values that will become the keys, and then all I need to do to make the keys is they'll just be straight indices, so it's just range of count found. So that's to remove. And then, is there a drop while? Drop while. Yeah. And then to remove remaining edges is drop while. And then the predicate is this whole weird thing, contains. To remove contains whatever is coming from edges. Does that make sense? And then from remaining, now that you have the remaining, you just do found made, you do make loops of remaining. Let's see if that makes any sense. Then all you have to do is concatenate found remaining. Is this gonna work? Something tells me I didn't get it totally right. Not quite. Oh, I don't want to do remaining, I want to do made, like this. Right? And then, okay, so there should be, since foo is just a triangle that's extruded, the total number of loops I should have should be 1 for the bottom, 1 for the top, so 2, plus a loop for each face on the side. So a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only. And I've got here a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a bunch of additional. That's not totally accurate. Let me undo that for a moment. Since edges currently error in extrude adds extra edge at end of list. Fix. We'll start with that and we'll go from there. Okay, I have there's something here that I need to check before I go ahead and start. Let's see what remaining looks like by itself. It should have only 3 edges in it. Why? Oh, I think I might have drop while mixed up with what I'm supposed to have. So I should see 0, 3, 1, 4, and 2, 5, and not those other ones. These ones are incorrect. 2, 0, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 3. Why is that? Well, that's just weird. Find loops, edges. What does found show here? If I apply concat onto that, what do I get? Yeah, I get that. Oh, here we go. This range is wrong. It has to be count of apply concat found here. If I do that, that's the found ones, still good. And then to remove should now have a bunch more in there. Yep. Then remaining should now have fewer in it. Let's try that. It should have 0, 3, 1, 4, and 2, 5, which is what I see. That's good. And then if I do made, loops that are made from the remaining ones, I should see 3 loops that are built. So we've got 1 here, 2, and 3. So that's looking good. So now that should work. Let's see. So now get loops of foo should give me a total of 5, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops. Well, that's a promising start. Okay. So now all I really need to do is make a function draw loops. Which will look different. Now let me start this bit over here a little bit. Let me do I'm going to start with a simpler draw loops here. I'm going to get rid of that, go just to this. Okay, there, let's delete this. And we're using polypath, which is fine. Row is nothing in this case. Okay, so I've got edges. Now what I need to do, orientation is also not going to be part of this function for now. Okay, so I have nodes and edges, that's totally fine. I'm going to make loops, loops, there we go. loops is going to be get loops from the list that is produced from map val onto edges. Yeah. So there we go. I'll have the loops, which is just lists of edges. So for edges in loops is what will be the next for edges in loops. Well, actually no, it'll be for loop in loops, right? And a single loop is just a, so if I do first of this, so I have an example of the data that I'll be passing in. For loop in loops, it's just a list of indice. It's a list of indice pairs which are edges, which means I won't need a let color here. I will need, oh, what does polypath take again? Polypath takes a list of paths, which is itself no, I don't want it to do that. I actually want all of the loops in one go, but I need to turn each loop back into its indices, or pardon me, back into its point values. Oish. So what I need to do is something like this. I need a function that will define a loop to points, and I need the object and the loop that I'm working on. And what it'll do for me is convert it into a list of points. So I need since they're loops, I can take the first item from their set, right? It'll all, let indices be the mapping of map first onto loop, and then points is going to be map, get the value of get from nodes object indices, map that onto the indices, and you should have a list of points. Does that make sense? I'll find out. Oh, I did something wrong here. Oh yeah, clear that out. Okay, loop to points. Let me do ASDF, right, is a valid object I have. Yeah, if I do, okay, let me do, to test this out, loop to points of ASDF, where I do first of get loops from foo, nil, nil, nil. I was close, but not quite there. Okay, something's wrong, which is perfect because I can troubleshoot. Let me do this. Let me get rid of this extra stuff here. Let me do get. Oh shoot, I do still need map. Map get. Oh, this is wrong here. Let's go like this. Map get nodes row. Did I do get properly here? Get map key. Yep. Get from the nodes of that object, right? So it'll just be a list of points. Get the indices from that. Of course, if I formatted it properly, it might make sense. I could maybe do val on get maybe now it'll work. It was just a paren problem. Was it? Jeez, I'm confusing myself a little too much here. Okay, map this function onto the indices. Points. Let's try that. Let's try. Okay, that's not right. Let's simplify. Map that onto the indices. Points. Let's try that. Oops. Did I accidentally? Okay. I'm gonna fill up some coffee for a minute and have a think about this because I'm not getting anywhere. So I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, am I getting anywhere? The current answer is no. Okay, first of all, let me see here. Does this even make sense? Let's see what the indices looks like here. 0, 1, 2. Yeah. Okay. Now let's look at what points looks like. 0, 0, 0. Okay, so I've got an issue going on here. Okay, let's do nodes of ASDF, right? That's a list. If I do get from that nodes row some index. Oh, oops. In the REPL I have to use an actual thing there. Okay. So what I have here is a bit of a problem where this nodes thing, right, I can't run get on that because it's actually a list, which is not, it's not, it has no indices because it could be like it's like a lazy sequence. So you can't run get on that. I have to make sure it's a vector for that to work the way I'm intending. So to do that in an effective manner, I shall create a little thing on the let here. Let nodes be map v val onto nodes row. Then I should be able to do points as a map v. It could be a map get from nodes that indices. Now let's try that. Of course, let me make sure I built that properly. And now let's try that on my weird little test thing here. There we go. Now we have points. Okay, so loop to points correctly takes a loop and gives me values in a list of points. That list of points I can use as part of the argument for polypath. So if I go here, I should be able to completely comment out the for loop. Well, actually here, let me just go ahead and do that. Loops, paths is just going to be the map of loop to points over the loops, the lops, the loops, and then all this draw loops has to be is a single. No, that's not necessarily correct. Okay, here I have an interesting scenario where loops and faces are not necessarily the same, and I'm currently assuming they're the same, which will lead to weird render problems. So I still do need the concept of faces. So as a stopgap there, I can do this. For path in paths, I can run polypath. I can actually just do, I have a function closed path, like that. And if I test that out, it should, if I test that on some, let me do a simple shape. Let me go scroll down here. Loop. Let me get rid of this polypath thing and do closed path. No, I should be able to do this. Draw loops of, we'll do a regular polygon. Regular polygon 2, 6, extrude it by 5, draw loops, move figure. Let's see if this works. Something tells me it won't, but we'll see. If there's an error here in a moment, then I know it didn't work. But if it, yeah, okay. Wrong number of arguments. 1, pass to loop to points. Oh, of course. The reason there is here, I actually have to do it this way. Row loop to points, this. Or I'll do it as partial here. Map partial loop to points with row as the first argument loops. Save this. Do a trivial change there. And let's check for incoming errors for a moment. It worked. Wow, it actually worked. Okay, that's exciting for me. Let me add one more little thing here just to do one more test. Orient ISO of this whole thing. And I just need to close that there. Now so there should be a few come on. Inspect this. I should see inside this SVG a total of 8 path items under the transform here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paths. Sweet. That's a really good thing. This, let's delete. Did I delete it or not? Yeah, so the reason I have to delete 2 paths for the line here to disappear is because each path is a closed path, so there will actually be a double line anytime 2 faces directly meet on an edge. That edge is technically drawn twice, once for this face and then once for this face, and they overlap perfectly. So for it to disappear, you have to delete both faces that happen to share the edge. Pardon me, excuse me. Oof. Then if I do this top one here, right, delete that. Yeah, okay, that's a step in the right direction. Let me just extrude it only 4 there just for fun. So now, next thing, let me see for a minute actually if that work? Yeah, okay. So we see very clearly an issue with render order of these, which is not a new problem. I've mentioned it a few times. Right, this bottom face is fine. This face should be all the way here, like that. And then other faces, the order matters depending on like the camera orientation, right? Like, so it's a kind of a tough problem. At least I don't have an easy solution. There, so that is the correct rendering. Okay. Let's save that. I won't worry about the faces there. Drawing loops is visually equivalent to drawing edges. Just probably is a little more efficient with DOM elements. Trivial change there to save it. There we go. So now, what I need to do is make a new test shape. So here is the thing I actually need to be able to fix. This shape here is an extruded diamond with a diamond cutout in the middle of it, and I need to fix that. So to make that piece, yeah, what I need to do is make a new shape here. Def ASDF as the join of extrude regular polygon. Let's make it radius. This radius is going to be 4, and the edges of this one's going to be 4. It's going to be extruded by 5. And the other shape is a regular polygon, radius 2, 4 edges on it, also extruded 5. So ASDF is that shape there. Now, if I run get loops, foo, let me do, foo is going to be, oh wait a minute. Yeah, foo is now going to be map v val onto edges of ASDF, right? Foo. Okay, so the total number of edges in this should be, since it'll look kind of like this, right? It's actually going to be 4 on the bottom on the outside plus 4, so 8 on the bottom times 2 for the top, so 16 plus 4 on the outer corners and 4 on the inner corners, so 8 times 3, right? So a total of 24. So if I count foo, that should be 26. Why would it be 26? Do I have duplicates? Let me do into set foo, and let me count that. Yeah, okay, so I have a problem where I have 2 duplicates of things, but okay. Right, the 2 duplicates are going to show up. Let's get the extrude here. What happened to my extrude function? Oh boy, clearly I need to reorganize my code a little bit. That's totally my bad. Right. If I do this, sneaky, drop last, and now redef, if I redefine this and then redef foo and count foo, are there 24? Oops. Yeah. So that really needs to be fixed. Okay, here, clean up code order in stylo and chunk, and hack fix drop last on edges list in extrude function. This needs to be properly fixed. That's fine. So that does also mean that in my draw loops, here, I don't need to, what have I done? Nothing. Here. In get loops, I shouldn't need to do this anymore. What a mess. What a mess. That'll have to be okay for the time being. Let's just see that things still kind of work the way I expect them. Yep. And for a sanity check, we'll change the number of We'll make it 7. Yep, it's working. Good. Steps in the right direction. Okay, so now we're at foo, right? Count foo is 24, which is the right number of edges. So if I do get loops of foo, what I would expect to see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 loops in total. So let's count that. 18. So that's not correct. And the reason it's not correct, I'm not sure of yet. Probably because okay. Whoops. I have the idea of are there duplicated loops here at all? Let's do into set get loops foo. Count that. Still 18. So it's not that. What I'm guessing is there are additional loops made that connect incorrectly the vertical edges across here. So what I see, I expected 12 and I got 18. That could be in part due to there needing to be 1, 2, 3, 4 more, so it's 16, and then an error of 2 more. Let me try to draw loops of foo. See what happens here. This probably won't work, or it'll at least look very wrong. Yes. If I define foo2 as the rotate the join but I have to extrude each of these. Extrude by 4. That's the join, and I want that rotated 90, 90, 0. So that's foo2. So if I draw that, oh, wait a second, what? That's weird. Let's draw loops of orient iso foo2. Should be a 3D object right away. Will that work? Okay, so we get this very weird scenario going on here. But I'm on to something. Or I'm getting somewhere. Oh, wait a minute. I've just got some very weird thing going here. The loops aren't working, but I have correct renderings here. And that's because they're just single paths, right? Yeah, they're not. Yeah. Right. I haven't. Those look correct because I haven't rendered loops, but here I've rendered loops and it's not correct because there's all kinds of extra loops in the whole thing. So if I orient this front, inspect, that's weird. Isometric. This whole thing is way out of whack. Let me let's do this. Nth paths, closed path, nth of paths, the first one. Yeah, save that. Let's just step through each face that or each loop that's getting rendered kind of one at a time and figure out visually what is happening. Okay, so we have, that makes sense. Oh, let me make this just a little clearer for a moment. I'll do for path in take 12 of paths. Let's do it that way. Let's see if the first 12 are what I expect. Then we can kind of do it bit by bit. So we run into issues already there. Yeah. Right, so it's got to do with let's see here, get loops foo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see the first 6 of these. Take 6. Okay, so we're already running into some weirdness there. So we've got 6 there, but this one, inspect this strange looking one, that's the weird looking one at the moment. If I delete that, everything else looks good, but I don't have, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I run into a weird error already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here, let's see. Let me go here, get loops foo, count 2. Really? That surprises me. For path of paths. Okay. Things are starting to get even messier. Sometimes it's fun, but definitely have to go back to this and really clean it all up. Did something there. This will change in a minute. Okay, so that's kind of interesting, right? Right now, I am using only the found loops setup, and it's only finding 2 loops when I expected it actually to find 4. I wanted it also to find the outer loop here, but it didn't do that. And I'm a little surprised by that, actually. Find loops of foo. There's only 2 loops that it found, but it has 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so my find loops function doesn't work because it assumes and only looks for it doesn't look through the remainder all the way, if that makes any sense. Right. Because technically, I would need to run find loops. I need to run it through for each index, right? If the first index doesn't match it, it's not as if future indices won't have a loop later on in the list. Now, how do I do that? I could do something like this, maybe. Defen loop masks, right? Where I have edges and it returns let indices be the map first onto edges, and then for each of those you do for index of indices, you do this thing. Map v index of last of edges, and that'll be true or false or whatever. Does that make sense? Let's try it. Loop masks of foo. I should get a big list of true false things. Nope, it didn't work. For index and indices, map v equals index last map first onto that. Right, so, okay, with that, filter, if I filter this list with all false as the predicate, Man, I'm getting myself deep in the rabbit hole of confusion. Count loop masks of foo. 24. Does that make sense? There would be a total of 24 edges because I've got 8 edges on the bottom, 8 edges on the top. Yeah, 16, 24 total. So there's that many masks, but they shouldn't all have a true in them, right? Some have 2 true in there, but they all have at least 1. Oh, and they'll all have at least 1 because they'll all match true on their own index, right? No, that's not the case. What am I doing? Okay. So the idea I had here was that a loop is gonna happen if there's a spot where an edge ends where your current edge starts, but that's not necessarily true. It's only true because of the order that I put edges in. So I really do need my ideas for finding loops is highly dependent. My method for finding loops is weak. It depends too much on assumptions about edge list ordering. Example, doesn't find valid loops when valid loops later on, valid loops unless each loop is sequential in the edge list. This assumption breaks when you join multiple shapes. Faces and loop faces need to be defined to properly account for faces that have multiple loops. Anytime there is a hole in a face, that face is built up from n plus 1 from n holes, number of holes, plus 1 loops. My draw loop function is essentially only equivalent to draw edges, as it incorrectly ignores face grouping of loops. Okay. This is just me writing notes to my future self about how much work I have to do to really fix this up. It's getting too messy, and I'm getting too confused by shuffling things all around. So what would really make more sense is fixing up my extrude function, I think, which here, this is a whole big messy thing. This function needs to be fixed to make more sense. One thing I want to try let me make a new function here before I go. Define sketch to 3D takes a sketch, which is a 2D element, right? So if I do regular polygon, radius 3, edges 7, or sides 7, it's nicely nodes and edges. So the edges don't have to change, but the nodes only have 2D coordinates. So all I have to do, let nodes 2D be map val onto nodes of the sketch. Then nodes 3D is map entity onto shoot, I have to check something. All right, I'm gonna add this little thing and then I'm gonna get going. So I won't be streaming for too much longer, but at least then I can say I still completed something useful today. I think I'm a little further away than I was yesterday, it feels like, to being to having useful features, but hey, sometimes that's how it goes. That's just gonna be the way it is, and that'll be fine. So all I have to do here is map entity onto, so if I have concatenate onto a point that's 1, 2, 0. Conj. Yeah, that's all I need. Map entity onto let me do this. Entity onto conj the 2D node 0. And map that onto nodes 2D. Then the only thing I need to change really is assoc sketch map key nodes nodes 3D. Let's try that. Let's do here sketch to 3D of this regular polygon. It successfully adds the Z value 0, which means I should be able to use that function to make renderable things, I think. So I'll just have a look at that. Let me try it. Here, let's do draw loops. Oh, wait a minute. Will this work if I do? Well, let's find out. We'll try it. If I draw loops of sketch to 3D of regular polygon, is that gonna do what I want it to do? Let's tangle that code. Save this. Probably oh, did this not? What am I looking at here? Loops. Something is clearly not working right now. I've broken something. Okay. I have no idea what happened. Is it possible that... Well, okay. This is probably as good a time as any for me to call it a day. Let me go here actually. Before I do that, stylo.builder. Let me md to page of slurp c load file source stylo builder.cljc. Okay, now let's try this. There's a foo problem here. Okay, things are building again. Foo is gone. Foo2 is this thing. Figure is not... Oop. Let me see if that'll build now. Current answer is no. Foo2 already exists. Yes, yes, yes. Of course it does. Save that. Let's try that. I've got something bad going on. Yeah, okay. Let's see here. Draw edges. Let's turn this back on for a moment. Let's try this again. Okay. So I've got something wrong with my draw loops function. It's messed up, it's kind of broken, it's not a good implementation. Noted. I will fix it at some point. All I want to see is if I draw edges of this, if it'll draw. Yeah, okay, there we go. So this sketch to 3D thing does allow me to draw 2D shapes in the 3D environment, which is quite useful for debugging purposes, I think. So let me just attempt one more thing here. WASD sketch, right? We'll define that. Wait a second, that I didn't need to change that. Foo sketch. Let me sketch to 3D, not this polygon, but this foo sketch. And let's see if that actually draws. Yeah, okay. Alright, I'm onto something now. If I do draw faces, did I fix that yet or not? Would appear not. Null. Okay. Okay, so draw edges is working with sketches, which is a nice thing. If I do this, will it be a line or will it be a front projection? Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So if I do this orient ISO, it'll skew it back to the isometric view. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So let me just do this for fun. 6, and this will be 8, just for kicks. Yeah, okay. Alright, that's enough for me for the day. I really need to sit and re-architect a little bit. Need to clean up the code. Need to have a look through my notes, clean up errors that I know exist, fix up and make a more concise implementation for how I want to store the actual data of 3D objects, so I'm not constantly building and like structuring and destructuring all the time. So that'll take a bit of work on my part, which I can't do it all on stream, I don't think, because a lot of it's going to be just straight up thinking as opposed to drawing pictures on the screen and stuff like that. So I'll have to get to that tonight and hopefully tomorrow morning. But on that note, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate that. If you're watching live, thank you. If you're watching in the future on a VOD or on YouTube or something, thanks so much. I appreciate that a lot. Feel free to leave feedback in the form of comments constructively. I really like streaming my programming and I want to keep it up. On that note, I'll be back at 12:30 again tomorrow and 12:30 every day for this month. After this month, I will probably have to adjust that schedule so that I can bring better streams by having more prep time and stuff like that. But this is an experimental month for me, so thanks everyone for bearing with the things that aren't perfect and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna get going, but thanks so much for tuning in. I hope wherever you are and with whatever you're doing that things are going okay for you, and I will be back again tomorrow. So have a good one.